You can now use AI to very quickly investigate information from entire internet. Relegating CTI to the secondary role is a big strategic mistake, in my opinion. AI is not new. We really can't yet talk about full autonomy. Automation, yes, not autonomy. We will continue to operationalize intelligence.
Welcome, Anna, to our show, Fishing for Insight. You work at Recorded Future, and today you're going to talk to us about cyber threat intelligence. Can you maybe introduce your background so we understand what you did before?
Good day, everyone. Good day, Jasmine. It's really nice that you have me here, guys. Thank you. My name is Anna Geta. I am Vice President of Cyber Operations and AI Engineering at Recorded Future, based in Gothenburg, Sweden, in our Engineering Center of Excellence, and I have almost 20 years background in web technology development in different industries.
Thank you very much. So obviously, let's start with some definition. Can you explain to us what is exactly cyber threat intelligence and also give us a use case showing how companies can leverage this practice?
Of course, cyber threat intelligence from technical perspective is ability to collect vast breadth and depth of internet on all its layers, analyze that data and structure it for dissemination, for insight, for intelligence to take decision and action. Threat intelligence is really about structuring information about why specific threat actors are targeting your organization, how they are doing that, why they are doing that, when exactly they are doing that. If it's an event to be occurring in the future, is it even from the past? We have to go and investigate. And also, what are the best actions to take to prevent it or answer to it if it already has happened? Value of threat intelligence is very multi-layered, all the way from strategic contextual information that really enhances analyst decisions, all the way to enrichment and speed to action, for example, speed to response. So it's very, very valuable set of informations with vast enrichment towards right decision, contextual decisions. What is very interesting about cyber threat intelligence is the fact that it structures information for both humans and machines to analyze it. One of the great examples is actually from yesterday, when our INSECT team, INSECT is our research group within Recorded Future, doing fabulous work in researching in great depth different threats, uncovered new infrastructure tied to Grey Alpha. And this is a threat actor that is very much overlapping with Fin7, that is a financially motivated group. And by just monitoring new domains, new IPs, they were able to see those new behaviors in the digital space when they are using fake browsers, fake websites, but also fake delivery methods, TDS tag 124. That is completely newly documented one. And here, when we go into the space, how human intelligence surfaced from that monitoring is nicely merging with technology, because we have the TDS tag 124 that you can now use AI to very quickly investigate information from entire internet. What is that concerning? Is there any other information about that published and so on and so forth? And then you can go into different analytical tools like threat maps and see how that specific threat actors and different methods that they're using are moving towards opportunity and relevance to really attack you. And last point I would really like to make is that it's very important to remember that threat intelligence, or CTI, is in easy way very relatable to the CTI teams within CISO organizations. But it really goes beyond that. It goes all the way to detection engineering, incident responders, also red teaming exercises. So it really provides value across the entire CISO structures.
Wow. It's very interesting to understand a little bit and in depth what is CTI, but maybe can you tell us if there is some blind spot? I mean, for example, particularly regarding the geolocalization of threats or the detection of loner or non-state actors?
A little bit of a multi-layered question. From one hand side, on the adversary side, I would say that definitely what creates a great difficulty, as you mentioned, like for example in geolocation, is anonymized infrastructure. When threat actors are using different tools, techniques, methods, like starting from VPNs, proxies, Tor, to really anonymize their presence. That very traditional cybersecurity tools rely on, for example, on IP geolocation. But IP geolocation will direct you and attribute the action not to originator of the action, but to the host, for example. So it's very important to really shift towards that dynamic behavioral analysis that goes just beyond some signatures and signs on the internet. And when we go shift to lone actors, is for example the absence of the TTP correlation. So they tend not to use at all in a repetitive way, like state actors, the same infrastructures. They do something like a one-timer, they use it, and they shift completely to different patterns. So in that sense, the signal data for analysis and backtracking, fingerprints, and general digital footprint is really weak.
How can CTI tools evolve better to identify and contextualize diverse threats?
This is a great question, especially in the space we are today. With all the technological development, I think one of the biggest opportunities, of course, comes with AI. So something a la AI, really dynamic behavioral AI threat profiling. When I just mentioned about that weak signal data, about the lone actors that are living on the internet or not, AI really can enhance that efforts to track it faster, to contextualize and correlate the data in much faster manner, starting from like traditional techniques like NLP, when we will go dark web forums and try to analyze language patterns, different timestamps, and use that to enhance your signals concerning the threat actors, all the way to better structuring your collection and data that you really ingest from dark web forums and markets, to really correlate the data, and all the way to like automated threat storytelling with large language models, when there can be used game scenario, when you are generating different narratives concerning specific threat actors, and then it's left to the human analyst to really choose the most possible and plausible patterns specific to that group based on criteria we know about them.
And do you think that relegating CTI as a secondary role is a strategic mistake, and how can we put it as a core pillar in proactive enterprise defense?
Relegating CTI to the secondary role is a big strategic mistake, in my opinion. It definitely weakens the security posture of an organization. A role of threat intelligence is to allow very proactive, active approach, but also agile one. So not only wait for the threat event to occur, so you react to it backwards and you do the research and reporting and patching and implement new controls, but to really continuous monitoring. When you are observing your entire threat landscapes, when you question yourself, do we have the right controls in place? Are there any gaps in our controls? How should we distribute our investment in different elements and entities within our threat landscape? And that's a very important element. And this is truly to enable informed decisions. This is why, like, coming back to how Recorded Future was started and what we are doing, right? All the way from ingesting and collecting and structuring data from internet into our intelligence graph. When you have connections of entities and and different events based on our NLP methodology and models that we are running in production, we can structure information and contextualize it for analytics. And that analytics can be exposed in different tools. I have already mentioned our threat map, our threat actor map and malware map that really are measuring the relevance and opportunity of specific threat actors or malware to attack your organization. And of course, the higher on that heat map spectrum you are in the fourth quadrant, the more opportunity and relevance there is. So this is really strategic information that you are receiving here. Like, out of all those thousands of threat actors that are very active on the cyberspace, those are the ones that act in your industry, that already have attacked your peers, that have very specific interests in your organization. And then you can simply click on that little dot of that threat actor or malware and know why. Okay. And then you really start to understand, those are all the evidence that drove those conclusions to actually position that specific threat and make you really pay attention to it. And it even goes further. As we mentioned already, value of collection, right? Having not only breadth and depth of internet as an open source, but also really having a lot of proprietary data and ability to bring your assets. So we really know what's of your relevance. So that analytics is being really done against those specific entities allows us also to say, hey, that was seen in your environment. There are already detections in your other security tools. Therefore, it's even more relevant for you to act on it right here, right now. And this is all before threat has occurred. And then, for example, even going further, after threat occurred and you already did the patching, you have to still report on it. So how do you scale up your efforts to go back and reinvestigate this entire chain of events that led to that specific event that already impacted your organization? And then moreover, how do you proactively make sure that doesn't repeat? So this is when threat intelligence really is absolutely key for every organization. And if we want to talk about agile cyber, that is really adjustable to your decisions and actions as the threat landscape evolves, it's absolutely key to start with intelligence.
I think you're going to agree with me. Companies are ROI oriented. So how can you measure the ROI of a CTI tool to ease their adoption, especially in comparison to more regular and traditional tools like CMN, maybe EDR?
So as I already have mentioned, threat intelligence has very strategic nature. It's all about operational efficiency. It's all about efficiency of your defenses, of your teams. It's about efficiency of your decision-making and efficiency of your actions. In contrary to more standard tools like firewall, something is blocked, not blocked, right?
Yeah.
It's very difficult to measure that and quantify it. And obviously, when you talk to the board and CSOs, CISOs, they would like quantifiable data concerning the investment, because that really drives further decision to increase that investment or decrease it. And I see a lot of companies struggling with that measurement system. They think a lot about measuring time to action, right? Which is also not an easy task to do. Thinking about in big organizations when you have, for example, more than 100 people in the cyber teams with different roles, and there are different dependencies and procedures to follow. Time to action is not only about intelligence in that sense, it's about the entire process. So I think the best way is really extract the value of efficient decisions. So the value of control validation, this continuous monitoring, the ability to be really agile, of using intelligence for decision and action and evaluation of your defenses and different controls in your threat landscape. Do I have the right controls? Did we invest in the right controls? Do we have any gaps in our controls? Should we shift around and really go that specific route? Some of other interesting measurement, very tactical ones, I have to say, but very interesting I have seen in some financial institutions were reporting. So in general, reporting in cyber takes a lot of time. There are so many different types of reports. There is report for CISO, there is report for the board, there is report for the organization, the educational materials that cyber teams have to generate for the organizations. And using threat intelligence, especially automated threat intelligence with different like GenAI applications, expedited that process. So simple measurement that someone went from few days spending on writing different type reports to few hours, just because the process is fully automated and they don't have to rely on that manual, heavy processes and procedures in collection and report generation.
Let's move to AI. How AI impacts CTI. So how has generative AI changed your method for analyzing and operationalizing intelligence? For instance, do you use language model to enhance context, analyze, detect pattern, or unstructured data?
Coming from engineering department, I feel like it's such a broad question that I could speak a lot about. But let me maybe focus on a few main points I would like to make. I think first and foremost, AI is not new to Recorded Future. Recorded Future Foundation was based on different AI data science applications. So from day one, when Recorded Future started to collect and analyze text, it was based on our NLP. And our NLP is about not only processing the language to extract and reach different entity types and structure them in form of knowledge, digital twin of the world, but also about extracting specific events. So like taking a fragment of information, fragment of text, and saying that, hey, cyber attack has occurred based on our NLP process. We do that deep analysis in 15 languages right now, and we use multilingual approach, so very high precision scores. And that's one thing. Second thing is that we go beyond text, which means that we really go in a space of signal data and images. That's also something that Recorded Future is already doing. I think especially it was visible during pandemic when internet was so heavy text-based. And suddenly we went into that space when everything was an image or a video. So rise of social media and pandemic really changed the way people communicate in the digital space. After came different geopolitical conflicts when really information was disseminated in the fastest way via short videos.
Yeah.
That motivated us to really focus on multimedia and extract information not only about the multimedia, but from that specific multimedia. An example of it is like geolocation from images. We can say, if you have an image with little background context on it, we can not only say the location of that image, so it was taken in that part of the world, so actual physical location, but we also give you probability score of that location. It's like we are like 90% certain that's the location, or lower score, so you have that context. And that went further with a rise of GenAI. Once again, it started with text and ChatGPT and conversational interfaces, very quickly to translate it into also image generation. We use a model to evaluate image and say if it was AI generated. Give you not only probability score, but also which model was used to generate that specific image.
It's very useful, especially in deepfake and disinformation.
Exactly.
So what are the concrete benefits and current limitations of generative AI in CTI?
So I think that nicely ties to also a little bit the previous questions. Is like, so what we already did with AI, so how AI changed already nature of threat intelligence. Now it's like how it will change the nature of threat intelligence. With the rise of GenAI, we started to do summaries, so vast amount of data that was exposed in, there was like thousands and thousands and thousands data points extracted from internet for analysis. Suddenly we can summarize in a few sentences. And the beauty of that solution, the elegance of that solution is that really pushes the time of an analyst from processing the data into this cognitive capacity of extracting the most valuable information and going after that needle in a haystack. I already have mentioned the reports as well. The automating of entire process is such a key. But you are right. It creates bottlenecks. It creates some, you called it blind spots, no?
Yeah, exactly.
The blind spots. And for which reason? For many of them, we still have to deal with false positives. We still have to deal a new problem. We have to deal with hallucinations. So what if model hallucinates, right? And the fact that many of those models for enterprise applications are truly black boxes. So we don't really know what's under the hood, which data went into the training and how it's being conducted. And I think that from the engineering perspective, of course, is a concern. They have a fantastic results, so it's really difficult to question the output. There are methods to deal with this problem. So I think it's false to say that AI in the very near term can replace analysts. Absolutely not. It should enhance them. Because once again, those models are not fully accurate, especially when they hallucinate or when they, in those funny situations, when they complement each other. Like they are very agreeable and compliant models. So if you start to feed it not the right information, it will tend to, after a few prompts, to agree with you. Yeah. Which is also not a great thing if it's not the right information. And so attribution, going back and attributing every single sentence of what we're exposing to our user in the form of AI is just about saying it was generated by the AI and this is the information it's based off. So analysts can really go back and check it. Then if it's a form of analysis, the analysis transparency is key. So going there and really checking how exactly the data was analyzed and contextualized, and that's why it is formulated in that manner, not the other, is absolutely critical.
Okay.
And last, not least, we have to always remember that large language model, as much as we are progressing into the space of reasoning models, it's still not there. So models are, in the current applications, are not reasoning. It's the human analyst that is asked to be reason based on the outputs, because model repeats internet. It doesn't verdict the internet. So if there is some false information being disseminated, it will repeat it in that context. It can give now some probability scores that if it's coming from that source and a specific region and that specific group, maybe it's like influence operations. Of course, we can score it. But once again, there is this probability element that model will provide. But this decision belongs to a human analyst.
Yeah. Well, there is a recent report from Apple that went viral, I think, a few days ago, and it was saying the same thing, meaning that AI are not thinking by themselves, they just memorize data. So one of the things that I hear a lot regarding AI is that AI in cybersecurity add complexity. Do you think it's true or is a misunderstanding?
Oh, add complexity. So now, how would we like to take it? From which nature? Add complexity in the output, how it generates output, in the process, how it's being utilized as a tool, or maybe all of it. Does it add complexity? I have to say, I don't think so. I actually think it brings tremendous simplicity to how we deal with different information. I think the complexity, there is of course complexities, like to every technology. So I'm being a little bit optimistic here. If I have to switch into my pragmatic self, I would say, of course, there are technical difficulties, like just what we discussed, the hallucination, the black box approaches, the overarching governance element, like how to use AIs. So there are those technical complexities that it brings, but which technology like doesn't? It's like nothing is like a plug-in type of infrastructure. So when you are in software development, you always have to overcome those problems. But from the use case perspective, it simplifies dealing with so many things, especially if it's a language problem. Nowadays, the large language models are spectacular in dealing with language. I think despite all the downfalls, we can't forget how spectacular they are. And now going into this multimodal approaches, how we see progressing AI with image analytics, with audio files production, video production, that's very, very impressive. Like I wouldn't be surprised in a few years from now we have the same conversation, and we don't have to do that. We can just generate that content automatically, of course, with both of our consents. But I think the bigger problem is a little bit of a organizational / human element of people trusting AI. Using AI, knowing how to do that.
Having kind of a balance between automation and the human in the loop need, maybe an oversight.
Yes, so that's actually key in the development of technology and the path where we are right now on the stage. That's key, that there is a human oversight. Like we really can't yet talk about full autonomy. Automation, yes, not autonomy. We will get there. Please don't ask me when. I don't like those bets. We will get there when we get there, when technology allows. But I think from the perspective of how we deal with AI, the human oversight is critical. But human oversight, not in a way competing with AI, who will do the manual task better. Leave it to AI. Let it assist you. Okay. Focus on those better cognitive tasks, on decision taking. How many more decisions can you take during the day to protect your organization if you have all that automation? Okay. And you don't have to collect the data and you don't have to process the data. You let AI give you the data. You, of course, validate accuracy of the data, but as a human being, and very often if you're experienced professional, that's not a long time. And then just take a decision, take an action.
Well, that was one of my first thought was, okay, we're going to have AI and automation and AI that can make decisions. However, in the cybersecurity, it's a very sensitive field. So how do we do to work with an AI knowing that it cannot do anything and everything? For example, imagine unplugging an information system because they maybe detected something, but it was a false positive. How do you manage this kind of situation?
From the perspective of how we build AI systems, I will take it a little bit on the engineering angle here. When we build those systems, we focus very much on the use case. What is the problem you truly try to solve? And we try to answer that specific problem or help you to automate it, help you to deploy it. If we take an example of threat hunting, right? It's such a key action from the threat intelligence perspective and retrospective and threat hunting in general. AI can so significantly simplify it, right? For example, now we have this module of malware intelligence. When there are many sandbox submissions, and those sandbox submissions in the form of a report, static and dynamic report, can be searched through in natural language. Historically, the malware analyst would have to go, open the report, find the information, close the report, open the report, find information, close the report. Now they can do that across all the reports at once and in natural language. Then they can also select some specific data points for analysis or for auto Yara rule generation, which is quite spectacular. You don't have to write your Yara rule. It allows you to really auto-generate it, and then you can deploy it as is or rewrite it. And then, once again, it comes to this trust. Like, how do you trust it, right? As you said, cybersecurity is a very sensitive subject. But think about time you gained in this entire process. Skipping opening all the reports, generating the Yara rules, then automating the deploy or scheduling that deploy for overnight, like up to you. So you gain so much time and you oversight the entire process. So it's faster, but you have still full control. Nothing happens without your knowledge. In that sense, I think despite cybersecurity being a very sensitive field, there are such overwhelming benefits of using threat intelligence, of automating threat intelligence and operationalizing it, that is very difficult not to do that. Moreover, think about threat actors. They are using AI. They are very active on that field. And how would you otherwise fight the offensive AI applications? You have to fight AI with AI.
Yeah.
If they are using that, if you want to keep the scale and speed, we have to do the same. Exactly.
Yeah. I can understand this point. AI is often used to, from what I heard, amplify phishing campaign, which are a very simple way to attack. It's not a very complex attack. Do you foresee maybe more sophisticated AI-powered attacks?
Oh, yes.
Yeah?
Yes. It's actually a great question, very timely. We just had our adversarial intelligence hackathon. It's an event where we are taking our really, really highly skilled engineers and researchers together and investigating different methods how threat actors can be amplifying, as you said, the actions with AI. And we did it also last year, and last year results were great. I think phishing is one of the simplest methods.
Yes.
So like really low barrier entry to generate some scam emails, links, send it out. Even websites. So in general, any actions like that, but especially influence operations and also deep fakes are really low entry barriers. And any other scams, to be honest, voice cloning. To generate a clone with a voiceover and some specific narrative, everything by AI takes few hours from start to finish.
Oh.
It's that easy. Those models are there. They have many, many guardrails. But very often when you do the clone and generate it, those guardrails are not strong enough to really validate the purpose of why you're doing it. Do you have an appropriate consent of whoever you're doing with, and so on and so on. So it's a very low barrier entry from threat actors. There are some more sophisticated ones that require computer science, engineering, software, higher level of sophistication. For example, evasive malware, when you try to use large language model to evade rules, detecting different malwares. That works on short code snippets. That really requires skills and time to really, iterate over it and so on. Efficiency is still not in place. It's coming, question of time right now. So definitely we can see very sophisticated application of AI for adversarial actions. Therefore, more important actions we take to automate and enhance our actions.
I know you said earlier that you don't like to guess the future because who knows. However, I wanted to know what are the anticipation you have regarding emerging threat technologies or industry shifts in cybersecurity?
There is a saying that the best way to predict the future is to invent it.
Oh.
And I think that's the mantra at Recorded Future, especially in engineering. We repeat quite continuously. No surprise that I will say AI is an emerging technology on both sides, good and the bad, when it will not only automate, but it will come to some autonomous actions. When then you will have those agentic platforms on both sides, really coordinating autonomously whatever goal you assign to them. That's a big one. So pushing in that direction, it's key. What comes with that, which is, I don't know if it's a trend, but it's governance and regulations, right? We will need strong governance and regulations concerning AI applications and how it's being deployed, while remembering that adversaries do not comply with them. So it will be still the defenders that follow the regulations, that try to apply them, which takes time. We all know that prolongs the entire process. But at the same time, we need to keep that agility, just to keep up the pace and match the other side. With AI, I think also I would like to add that it will extend its operation. So I talk about this managed autonomy and different agents, AI agents coordinating different activities. In some extent, it will be with human in a loop. With some extent, it will be less of a human in a loop. Maybe we will get to that point when it's executing some actions completely autonomously. Like think about reporting. Like if you like that report for the past 3 months, do you really need to read it before you send it each and single time? Maybe it's a point of time when you'll be like, just send out the report. Like I don't have to check on it. Of course, that's still quite secure action. You don't block anything. You don't patch anything. But that will be definitely an easy starting point to build a trust with the levels of autonomy that AI can get. But it will also go beyond language. Like we saw in the past with that was a trend, and it will continue. Now, large language models are still very much text-centric. Now, more and more, we see fabulous progress in this multimodal approach when they work with different multimedia. So that's definitely something that we'll continue and see spectacular efforts on in the scientific community. Maybe the last one I would like to bring is also from the cyber perspective, is really operationalizing all of it. And now the security stacks are so rich. I think in average, I saw last time statistics, in average security team in a larger organization have 47 tools.
Okay.
So like if you're part of cyber team, you have to learn 47 tools. And very often those tools are not integrated together. So you go from one tool to the other, but there is no natural flow of data. So operationalizing cybersecurity with threat intelligence at its core as this strategic incentive you get, it's definitely, we will have to focus a lot on short term, reducing those bottlenecks concerning integrations or data ingestion, like you don't have some data here, automating further the threat intelligence process all the way from ingestion, prioritization, decision, action, and dissemination of information. So yes, I would see it as a probably 3 key ones.
And for my last question, how Recorded Future will continue to differentiate itself in cybersecurity, knowing that it's a crowded market?
I think exactly what I just said, to be honest. We will continue to operationalize intelligence, to automate the intelligence, to reduce all the bottlenecks. I don't know if you had the pleasure to see our newest brand is know what matters, act first. And I think that's the very strong mantra we are pursuing, not only from the brand perspective, but also engineering at the core of what we are doing and how we are building. So we will operationalize it. We will make sure it integrates, is really as immune as possible to those dispersed security stacks, that the automation takes place, so the human analysts feel fully empowered to be at their full potential and knowledge of taking decisions and automate actions based on that decisions proactively and in agile mode, in this continuous monitoring mode. And AI will be core to that. It will be absolutely a key foundation in enabling that to happen. And so we will continue on our journey of being source of truth, having the best data, the most relevant data, the most accurate and unique data that allows you best insight. Now we will automate and operationalize the process and drive and that control validation, so you understand that actually your resources are well spent and your controls are in place and actually protect you.
Well, thank you very much, Anna. You shed some light on the topic of cybersecurity threat intelligence and give us some insight also into how AI works into it. Well, thank you for your insight, and I hope we have you in the next episode.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure.